Well, Fallica, like you're an OG. You've been doing this forever. We're now legal. We're 7 years into being legal. We're coming up on the 7-year anniversary of PASPA, the Professional Amateur Sports Protection Act, being overturned. Like, what do you see the difference between pre-legalization and today, even 3 years ago and today?
You see, I mean, obviously, you see the market flooded a lot more with just a lot more people trying to get their share of it from whether it's pick sellers, social media influencers, just kind of creating that crossover between like just okay, I know what I'm talking about, and you should pick this. Is it more of uh, an information based thing? Is it more of an entertainment based thing with depending on who the people on social media that you follow? But yeah, I just know I almost wonder if we're to a point of, or if maybe we've reached the point as well. I'd like to ask if we reached a point of like saturation in the market where there's so much information and so many people out there that are we kind of at the point where we're going to start to eat ourselves and maybe we're going to see a little bit of a pullback on. So you're going to see a lot of people maybe getting out of it, falling by the wayside, and it's going to kind of get back to just maybe not moderation, but fewer people, fewer. I don't want to say tout, but fewer pick sellers, fewer accounts out there, or are we going to continue with this level? Because it seems like we're at a point where there's just a lot of bullshit out there.
Well, look, I feel like in 18, 19, 20, everybody was trying to figure out how to be a sports betting media analyst because that was their way to get on TV.
Hmm.
And I think very quickly there was recognition of where there was authenticity and fluency with the language. It's not easy to talk about these things and sound like you know what you're talking about, right? Fallica, when I used to go on Sports Center back in the day before we started Action, and even a little bit after, the conversation was always who's the anchor who can talk about totals, who can talk about spreads, who can talk about bookmakers.
Outside of Scott Van Pelt
Right. Like,
and
how are
Neil
you going to
Everett.
have that conversation? Because the anchors aren't that comfortable with it. And to their credit, they don't want to be put in the position where they are uncomfortable with it. So it's hard to find the people who can even communicate the language. I think that's a huge issue. Simon, you've been sort of growing up in this space the past 5 or 6 years. You probably see a huge difference between the people who look and sound legit and the people who you can tell are just sort of doing it for the fame.
Yeah, but it's always been this way. Where I think it's worse because it's so much more in our faces, right, with social media. But you guys grew up in the same thing where I did with the 800 number. I mean, there was always guys on the radio selling picks, selling their bullshit, and you'd call up, right? They would do that. We got 3 free plays this weekend and went 3-0. Call this number for the one play that isn't free. Well, it's a guaranteed winner. Like that. That is instilled into gambling the folklore, and now it's a little different because it's these faceless people, right? It's these guys who make these Twitter accounts or social media accounts. They'll sell picks. People figure out quickly these guys are frauds, and they'll delete the account and then make a new account and then hit one of their parlays, post a ticket, get people sucked in again. So I do think we're in the weird stage of these people need to go through these frauds and realize this is not a get rich scheme. Like you're not going to win millions of dollars on parlays in your first year of gambling. And that's the toughest part to watch it because what are we supposed to do? All we can do. I'm sure Chris has the same idea. I can only focus on myself and try to be as best as I can, put out the best info I can put out that I know is legit, rather than waste time just bad mouthing all these people all the time. Because there's no point. Like that's why I love what we do is because eventually you're gonna get figured out. Like people, if they're gonna track you and follow your picks, they're gonna eventually figure out, okay, this dude's a fraud. So I'm with Chris. Like I hate that side of it, but luckily I think we're kind of on the back end of it. I think eventually people are getting kind of wiser to it. And, me and Chad, we talk about this all the time. The new shift is definitely the parlays, right? That's the new thing in this sports media stuff where, me and Chad like to give out our straight bets. We're now in a position of, maybe we should give out 1 or 2 parlays a week because that's what people like to bet. So that to me is the adjustment we're trying to make, right, Chad? We're trying to adjust to what the people like to bet in the market where as professionals, we advise against it, But if it's for fun, right? If there's a difference between betting $5 on a game and betting $100 on a parlay, right? So that's what we're trying to really get into now. And I'm with Chris though. Like, there's some stuff that makes my blood boil that I see online, and I bite my tongue because I know there's no point, right? It's that crab mentality. They'll just pull you down with you into the bucket. So there's no point of even jumping in. They're just gonna pull you down. So it is tough.
Yeah, and you know what? Just let them. You don't interact with them. You just let them do their thing, and it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. But you did bring up something funny, and I do have to just say it now. And now a message from the world famous Johnny DeMarco. The ex-coach Dr. Ron Bash has a 5-star winning. Oh, man,
Those were the days.
That used to be Saturday morning ritual on prior to College Game Day, 7 a.m. We would get to the site, and Fowler was like leading the charge because he just loved the laughable entertainment value. We'd throw on the sports advisors, and you'd have Stu Feiner and Ron Bash and whoever the hell, maybe Kelso Sturgeon, all of the Jim Feist, all the cappers of the day, the TV cappers, and we used to just you'd have Stu Feiner in front of a green screen of Arrowhead Stadium behind him, and I'd literally see his face and just 900 numbers and 800 numbers just flashing in stars. We watching the sports advisors on Saturday morning used to be the way we would get fired up for College Game Day. We just instant laughs. It was great.